3 things I wish I knew in my early 20s. Cut your family off. Hear me out. If your family is toxic, do not be afraid to cut them off. The best decision I have ever made was no longer spinning the block with my own relatives. I am not going to take several steps back in my healing journey by trying to heal in the same place that hurt me. Number 2, stop seeking approval from people that are not living your life. I cannot tell you how many people I know that genuinely do not make decisions without getting approval from family. Baby, you 36. I'm not asking you about anything I'm doing in my life. I'm telling you. And you'll be lucky if I do that. Number 3, your journey is not supposed to look like theirs. Everybody is not supposed to be in the same place or moving at the same pace. Nobody is doing better than you. You can only do better than you because the grass that looks greener just might be fake.
Things I wish I knew in my 20s as a 30-year-old. Your silence and your absence are far more powerful than you think. When you take ownership over how far along you are in your dreams, that's when things start happening. And that little voice in the back of your head says, I probably shouldn't do this, but I really want to. Don't do that thing. Typically, this is boy or alcohol related. Spoiler alert, neither will be worth it. When a loved one is trying to give you advice about your life and you don't necessarily want to hear it, instead of getting defensive, try this. I really love how much you care about me, and I really appreciate that you are looking out for me like this. And that's it. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to disagree. You just leave it at that. They feel heard. They're validated. You get to go on living your life. Anytime you're starting to feel anxious and starting to rush with things, purposely slow down. Go extra slow. Instead of worrying about what everyone thinks of you, adopt the mindset of only making positive assumptions for things that you don't know that pertain to you. Don't get a dog until you know you're ready to be home every 4 hours. I love you, Mama. You're so tight. There are a lot of things you'll think are your business and they're actually not. For example, other people's opinions of you, whether or not they believe in you, what they think you should do with your life, and so on and so forth. You don't have to pretend to be so tough all the time. People actually really appreciate the vulnerable side of you. Love you. Bye.
Let's play things I wish I knew in my 20s now that I am in my 30s. Coming in hot at number 1, don't get the credit card. I know how tempting it is to get the credit card, but don't get the credit card. When you are 18 and you're newly establishing credit, creditors will want to give you credit. Places like Kohl's, Macy's, Victoria's Secret, all the places will be dying to have your business and give you the credit card. Most of the time off the bat, they give you like a $500 credit limit. What they don't tell you is how bad you can fuck up your credit if you don't make those payments on time, and how bad you can fuck up your credit by maxing out those credit cards and making the minimum payment. They don't tell you about credit. They just give you the credit. Before you know it, you're 20 years old with 7 maxed out credit cards, don't know how you're going to repay that, working a minimum wage job, and possibly considering having to file bankruptcy because there is no way that you're going to recover from that debt with the income that you make, and your credit's fucked. And when your credit's fucked, you can't do shit. Aside from that, you're going to get these harassing phone calls to pay your debt. One of the most vicious ones I ever experienced was Victoria's Secret. I was scared for my life. Almost had me crying mommy when they were trying to collect their debt. Over some fucking underwear, bitch. Some calzones and some bras because I thought I was cute maxing out my Victoria's Secret credit card. Number 2, living with your parents is actually cool. It is so much cooler to stay at your parents' house and let them worry about the rent and the food and the next meal you're going to eat than have that on your plate. I don't care how independent you want to be. It is so much cooler to not worry about how the fuck you're going to pay your rent and eat ramen for a month because that's the only way that you can afford your rent just because you want to be independent. And low-key, I'm sure your parents are some kind of fucking awesome because the type of parents that they are when you're a grown-up in comparison to when you're a kid is so different. You have a different relationship and you might grow some different bonds and appreciate your parents. After all, they're not going to be here forever. And when I think about how much fucking money I spent on rent, I live in California. When I first moved out and had my own place, my rent was $2,200. Multiply that times 12. I'm at like $26,000 a year. You know what I could have done with $26,000 a year? Maybe paid my mom a fraction of that to still live at her house to help out because I'm a grown up. I don't know. I probably could have had more money to invest in Bitcoin. I'd be rich right now. Who knows? Take the fucking trips. Skip the clubs. Take the trips. Go on adventures with your friends. Mini vacays. Another reason why you should stay living at home. All that money that you're spending towards rent, you could be spending towards adventure and making memories. And that's really what the fuck life's about. Number 4, do your fucking car maintenance. Take care of your car. Make your oil changes on time. Rotate those tires. Change them out. Keep your beater car for as long as you can, because why the fuck would you want a car payment? Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Keep your beater car that you've had since you were 18, 19, 20 for as long as you can till the wheels fall off, baby. Then treat yourself to a new car. Because I don't know if you know this, but insurance is more expensive on a newer car. For those of you that are under 25, imagine more expensive insurance just because you wanted a new car and a car payment. Number 5, skip college until you actually know what you're going to do with your life. Because the last thing you want to do is get into debt and change careers repeatedly because you haven't figured out exactly what direction you want to go in. And you are just getting yourself in more and more debt. As someone who has a bachelor's degree in business, you do not need a degree to have a successful business. I had a successful business for 10 years and I did not apply not one thing from the school into my business. I have my permission to get into debt for school if you're going to become a doctor, a lawyer, a veterinarian, those types of things. And then before you go and spend all that money, make sure that it is something that you actually want to do. Give yourself some time. There's no rush. As long as you're working and investing in little things here and there, there's no rush to figure it all out. You don't really know what the fuck you want, who the fuck you are, and your full frontal cortex isn't fully developed till you're 25. Give yourself some grace.
Things I wish I knew in my 20s as a 30-year-old. It's better to look oily than to look dry. The sooner you can outgrow the thrill of doing things you know you're not supposed to do, the sooner you'll be consistently happy. If you're having to force anything, really push it to make it a thing, it's not for you, baby. And when something isn't for you, that means something else is, and it's just making room. Stop obsessing over what you look like. I promise you, you're the only one that's thinking this much about this topic. If you're considering dating someone and they can't give you everything that you want, not liking going out to the club is a perfectly normal thing. And if you're getting indications that you don't want to be up in the club on a Friday night, don't go. You will outgrow people. That's just the way it goes. And that's okay. Doesn't mean you can't still be friends. You just might not spend all that time together. I promise you, you're gonna find friends that like doing the same things that you do. Anytime you're getting worked up about anything, doesn't matter what it is, take a deep breath and consider how much it actually matters to you. Practice communicating how you feel about things rather than just reacting. Stop waiting for the next right thing to happen in order to go for your dreams. You are the next right thing when it comes to your dreams. So just go for it. If something feels wrong about that man, he's not right. And lastly, wear what you want. Bye.
What I wish I knew at 20 instead of 45. Your whole life, you're going to be bombarded with this concept of the instant solution. Instant weight loss, instant mood lift, fast fashion, certain medicines, extreme actions to solve something very, very fast. Then you'll be hit with the alternative of like everything slow. Botox versus gua sha, an anti-inflammatory diet versus painkillers, spending money for instant gratification versus investments. All of these are extremes of fast fixes versus long-term consistent things that lead you to a goal. The thing is that none of those extremes could be mutually exclusive. You need to have those small instant wins to lead to the overall goal. Do the Botox for the instant handling, but then follow it up with the consistent gua sha. Buy the latte because it brings you a joy lift, but invest as much as you can that day too. Use the small wins to build to the overall goal. There's instant fixes, but then there's root causes. And sometimes handling root causes can take a lot of consistency over a long period. And that's when the instant fixes can help you out. You will be bombarded with extreme messaging, but you just got to find your balance. It can be hard, but concentrate on the wins.
Things I wish I knew in my 20s as a 30-year-old. You have complete control over who you want to be. If you don't like something about your life, you have full license to change it. If you're pouring into any kind of relationship and it's not pouring back, it's time to go. If someone continually breaks your boundaries, they don't respect you very much. Part of the reason things are so hard right now is because you're fighting what wants to be. He needs to offer more to you than just being hot. Sometimes you're not ready for the advice that you actually really need to hear. Best to listen anyway. For the love of God, stop trying to think you need to do everything yourself. The lights on your dash are not for fun. Not everyone is always going to be in the same stage of life as you. If you feel like you have to hide your accomplishments from people, they're not your people. Definitely let go of those people that are always negative. You don't need a real designer bag at this age. You just don't. If you have to worry about a man at all, he's either not interested or not ready for you. Once, maybe twice is a mistake, but 3 times or more is a pattern. Making social connections, stop getting so frazzled. They're talking to you. They want to be talking to you. Learn about feminine and masculine energy and how to deploy them. Anytime you're not where you want to be in life and you get sad about that, use that energy to figure out how to get there instead of just thinking about the fact that you're not there yet. Get really good at cooking at least one thing. Just one. Try not to take things so seriously while also maintaining your boundaries. The master level is when you're able to do both of those at the same time.
I wish I knew in my 20s now that I'm 40, randomly off the top of my head while I eat this sandwich and chat to you guys. Okay, number one, nothing really matters. Nothing really matters at all. And I know when I say this, you're like, I've heard that a million times. Nothing really matters. Yeah, blah, blah. But I don't even know how to emphasize how much I really mean that nothing matters. Nothing matters in the sense that like we're all gonna die. No one's getting out of here alive. So when it comes to making your choices in life, whether they are big, whether they are small, just remember that nobody's gonna live forever. We're all gonna die. So the opinion of whoever doesn't matter. And I know people say this all the time, but I don't think people really grasp like the depth of what that means. So I just want you to like pause the video, pause, meditate on it for 30 seconds, okay, and think, I am fucking minuscule on planet Earth, okay? Nothing matters. Nothing. Okay, number two, if you are feeling behind in life, I get this question a lot on my lives. People are like, I'm 20, I feel behind. Behind whom? Behind what? Societal benchmarks for our lives? Guys, they don't matter. They don't matter. Nobody actually ever knows what they're doing in this life. Nobody ever reaches a point where they're like, I'm ready to die now. Okay, maybe, but not really. Do you know what I'm saying? The average person changes their career multiple times now, whereas before, a dad just got a job at the Ford factory and he lived there till the day he died. So we're in a much better place now, okay? If you're feeling behind, just ask yourself, behind whom? Behind what? Because what I can tell you is in my life, there have been times when I felt really, really behind my peers, like people that I actually know. And then a few years later, I was like, holy shit, I've surpassed them. And what I realized is we're not competing against each other. Like this isn't a race to a certain point. We're just on our own individual journeys in our own little realities. And I think once you realize that and once you accept that, you no longer feel like you're behind. And last but not least, become financially literate, especially if you are a woman. Become financially literate. I was married in my early 20s and I had no control over our finances and it really sucked. I remember I used to have to hide cash in a sock and put it in my sock drawer. And it wasn't until my early 30s that I actually became financially literate. I wasn't taught that stuff as a kid. I didn't really know and had to teach myself literally on YouTube. So I would say if I could go back to my 20s, I would become financially literate a lot sooner. I think it would have saved myself a lot of pain in my 20s and my 30s. Anyways, those are my 3 tips. If you're in your early 20s, remember nothing fucking matters. Nothing. Okay, go have a blessed day. Bye.
Let's talk about the 20 things I wish I knew while dating in my 20s. If you have to ask yourself if you're in the right relationship, you're probably in the wrong relationship. There is somebody out there waiting to love you more than you ever thought possible. Don't quit before you find them. There are no shortcuts to healing from heartbreak. Allow yourself to feel it and eventually you'll move past it. Sometimes good men do bad things. It doesn't mean you have to forgive them, but it doesn't mean you have to demonize them either. Learn to leave someone without villainizing them. You'll never find peace if you ask for it from the person who disturbed your peace in the first place. Learn to love your loneliness. It's what will protect you from giving yourself away to all the wrong men. Sometimes all you need to do is ugly cry and eat Haagen-Dazs directly from the carton. Let yourself be the stereotype and you can laugh about it later. Be scared and do it anyways. Go on that first date. Say I love you first. Start that new business. Let your fear fuel your power. Rejection is a part of a life well lived. Just because one man rejected you doesn't mean another won't come along and love you for everything you are. There are 7.8 billion people in the world and all you need is one. Sometimes it wasn't you and it wasn't him. Not everyone is meant to be together and most people need to date the wrong person first in order to find the right person later. Know who you are and no one will ever be able to use it against you. Going back to a man who hurt you means you trust in him more than you trust in your future. Trust me, your future is always better. Don't date a man who uses alcohol as an excuse for his actions. Most of the time you can't break up with someone without breaking their heart. Learn to be the bad guy because it's a better choice than being the good guy who's lying to their partner. You don't need to be friends with your ex and you don't need to be the bigger person. You just need to move on. Blocking someone is not a sign of weakness. Learn to viciously edit the negativity out of your life. Dare to ask for more because it's the only way you'll get it. You can love somebody and also know they're not right for you. Your worth is not defined by who didn't love you. Your worth is defined by how you overcame being unloved. There is always time to start over and become the person you want to be. You can resolve to start on May 8th and a half just as much as you can on January 1st, so what are you waiting for? Start now.